So paying the correct amount of taxes to the federal government is not optional. The IRS now has an extra $80 billion to make sure that Americans are properly paying their taxes. Meanwhile, the federal government spent $245 billion of taxpayers' money last year, that is $1,800 per household, on improper payments. But instead of increased audits, most government programs get rewarded with bigger budgets. This double standard should not exist. Last year, 1 out of every 6 Medicaid dollars and 1 out of every 4 CHIP dollars represented an improper payment. That's enough to purchase health insurance for 15 million individuals. In the earned income tax credit, 1 out of every $3 was an improper payment. What that means is that for the government to properly transfer $1 to an individual, they have to take $1.46 from somebody else. I estimated that more than 40% of the pandemic unemployment insurance benefits, that's $357 billion in total, went to individuals who were not unemployed. And while the media did pick up on international crime rings, even Chinese state-sponsored hackers stealing Americans' identities and taxpayers' money, there's little attention and zero consequences to government programs that regularly squander taxpayers' dollars. Any solution to reducing improper payments will require both verifying identity and eligibility and imposing accountability, and that includes consequences. Most improper payments come from failure to verify that people are who they say they are and that they're eligible for the benefits that they claim. According to this year's GAO report, 59% of improper payments were the result of agencies' failures to obtain the data needed to verify payments. Another 25% was the result of non-existent or inaccessible data. So better data is crucial, but it will be meaningless if agencies aren't held accountable when they fail to steward taxpayers' dollars. For example, federal agencies already are required to use the Do Not Pay database. But what they do is they ping that database, they send out the payments, and then afterwards, they get the results from that database when the money has already gone out the door. To improve integrity and accountability across government programs, I propose the creation of a Taxpayer Integrity Office, or a TIO, within the Treasury Department. And that TIO should have 5 responsibilities. 1, improving eligibility and ID verification. 2, strengthening information sharing across government. 3, maintaining competitive, responsive, and secure systems. 4, establishing and enforcing reasonable standards for agencies to follow. And 5, and most importantly, is enacting meaningful consequences for agencies' failure. Finally, while improper payments are a major problem, they are a symptom of the bigger disease, which is improper federal spending. When the federal government expands its role into areas of people's lives that are better addressed within households and businesses, by state and local governments, or by charitable and religious organizations, that's government bloat that comes at the expense of personal freedom and opportunity. The federal government spent $4.2 trillion last year on transfer payments. That's over $32,000 per household. It's also 9 out of every $10 the federal government collected, and 2 out of every $3 the federal government spent. Bigger government means even bigger improper payments. As this chart will show, federal payments have increased at 3 times the rate of GDP. That's the middle yellow line there. Improper payments have increased at 4.5 times the rate of GDP since 2005. At these current rates, improper payments plus interest costs could total $4 trillion over the next 10 years. Constantly expanding entitlement programs without any consideration of what they will cost is unsustainable. And taking people's money and requiring them to jump through bureaucratic hoops to get things that the government thinks they need makes it harder for ordinary Americans to earn a living and to pursue what is best for them as their families. So to reduce improper federal spending and empower people instead of bureaucrats, policymakers should replace tax credits with lower overall tax rates, enact universal savings accounts to make it simpler and more accessible to save, reject new entitlement programs, and reform existing ones. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Gressler.
Thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to our channel.
And while you're at it, please leave us a comment. Thank you for watching.